Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Hamad. How are you?
I'm doing well. Hope you're well too.
How's everything going?
It's yeah, improving.
It's improving. That's
Yes.
good. That's good. That's good. That's good. I love the colors. I love the shirt that you're wearing. It's really nice and bright
Right.
with some really cool designs. I love it.
Yes, yes. Especially for today's event.
I love it. I love that. That's awesome. So I've just shared the broadcast link on our LinkedIn as
I'm
well.
just doing it while
Yeah,
we
yeah,
are
yeah.
talking.
Yeah, and I think we will give our viewers a few more minutes to join um, before we begin. I think we should give it another 2 or 3
Yeah.
minutes before we start because right now I'm just seeing we have only one or two viewers, so we'll just give our viewers a few more minutes to join in and log in.
Sure.
Yeah,
I'm just posting link on my
yeah,
Facebook
yeah.
also.
Please go for it.
Uh,
For those of you who have joined us, I think there are two people who I can see have joined us. Thank you so much for joining, and thank you so much for your patience as well. We're going to be waiting a few more minutes for our other viewers to join before we begin on a very very important topic today: networking. Right, a huge, huge, huge part of our career success wherever you are, whether you're in Canada, whether you're in the United States or Europe or anywhere in Asia, wherever you are, networking has become super, super important, especially in the digital age that we are living in. And today we will be showcasing you a whole journey. We'll go through a whole journey of networking with you. What are the different steps in that journey? And we will showcase what to do in each of those steps, how to carry yourself out and professionally conduct yourself in the most professional manner to really increase your chances of success, your likelihood of success in the different aspects of your career that you're looking at through networking. So that's the topic for today. My name is Omar. I'm a mindset coach, and I'm so excited to bring you this topic today: how to build a strong professional network for your career success. For those of you joining us right now, thank you so much. We will begin very shortly in a minute or two as we are waiting for a few more folks to join us, and we'll begin very shortly. Thank you so much for your patience. All right, Hamad.
yes.
So, whenever you're ready, we should begin, I guess. We have a few more viewers joining us now, which is awesome, which is great. I'm really excited to have you.
Super.
So, I
Super.
should,
Let's start. I think we'll have more people coming in and joining, and
yes, let's
this
join.
podcast is going to be available anyways for those who join us later, and they can.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. So let's get started. Good morning, everyone, and good evening to some of you, because I know some of you have joined us from other parts of the world. Good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. Thank you so much. My name is Omar, and I am a mindset coach. I am super, super excited to have each and every one of you join us for today's very, very important topic, which is strategies for building a successful career in Canada. And what we will be talking about today is networking. Yes, networking, which has become so important in every aspect of our life, in our professional lives, and even sometimes even in our personal lives, right? And with me, I have Mr. Hamad Siddiqui once again, who is a LinkedIn expert and a professional when it comes to networking. And I'm so glad to have you join us today, Hamad. Thank you so much. How are you?
Thank you very much. Good morning. A beautiful day in Ajax. I don't know what's happening in Toronto, although we are only half an hour
Yeah,
away from each other. But weather can be pretty naughty in this part of the world. So
absolutely,
for me,
absolutely.
it's nice breeze. Partially cloudy, and we're
Yeah,
expecting some drizzle also. So with that, good morning, everybody. I think this is a great opportunity for us to share these thoughts. A lot of people struggle as far as going towards at least trying to frame the word networking.
yeah,
People treat it like it's a very, very complex thing to do. And one of the aims that we have, Umar and myself today, is to kind of help you understand the very basics as
hmm,
to how you can go about as far
yeah.
as going into a new country or maybe networking wherever you are,
Wherever you are.
because this is a global village now. Somebody sitting in Dubai can still network with somebody sitting in North America.
So
So
true.
yeah, with that, let's start, Umar.
Let's get started. Thank you so much. I think, yeah. Let's start off by let me start off by asking you a question about why, and let's touch on this briefly because I think for our viewers, some of them may already know the importance of networking. But for those of you who do not know, I think we'll start off by just talking briefly about the importance of networking, and then we want to spend quite some time on giving you the tools and the techniques and a process, literally a go-to guide, a do's and don'ts of networking, because I think this is where a lot of people make a lot of mistakes when it comes to networking, and we want to make sure we empower you and we give you all the right tools and techniques that you can use to increase the likelihood of your success through networking. So Hamad, let's start off by talking to us about the importance of networking. Why do you think networking is important?
As I said, we live in a global village. There was a time, maybe about 25 years ago, when you could still work in isolation, knowing few people that are around you, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
But as the global village is coming closer, and these bridges are no longer bridges, I would call it. People go across those bridges. As I said, somebody sitting in Dubai can still network with
Yeah.
somebody in North America or in Australia. The idea is to sort of build your social capital, uh,
Yeah.
and networking is perhaps the easiest way to do it. To learn new things, to connect with people who are relevant, and helping people also. So maybe for me, there are three key things one should look at while kind of gauging the importance of this whole process. Is
Mm-hmm.
you building your own knowledge,
Mm-hmm.
helping people, and sort of be part of this global village is are probably the three key things that one can really
Right.
look at while looking at the importance of networking.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. It's a different world that we are living in, and I think COVID has kind of played, it has kind of has ignited that fire, as well, in my opinion, because the world has all of a sudden, due to COVID, become very, very global. There's a trend of working from home. In fact, some people are calling it, let's change it to working from anywhere.
Right.
And who knows what the future holds for us, because that could become a norm very, very soon. And as a result of that globalization, you know, the world is at your feet, and you have to leverage all the different opportunities that are presented to you in this world to network and build those relationships, and they're so, so important for your career success. So let's start talking about, how do you even approach um, networking in the first place, right? What we have done, what Hamad and I we have created for you, is a step-by-step sort of a guide where Hamad and I, we will take you on this journey with us on how to approach networking, how to get started with networking, number one. Then how do you approach people? How do you conduct yourself during those networking calls or coffee chats, or now virtual coffee chats, in fact? And how do you follow up? So there's a whole process to that. So what we're going to do is we're going to be sharing our screens with you guys. All right, I'm going to share my screen, and on the screen you will see, um, give me 1 second, where did it go? There you go. On this screen you can see the journey. The first part of this journey is research and reach out. The second part is the preparation. So once you have done the reach out, you start preparing for your networking meeting, whether it's virtual or whether it's in person. Then you execute on it, and then you follow up. This may sound, and a lot of the things, I'm going to give a disclaimer over here for a lot of our viewers. A lot of the things that perhaps Hamad and I we will talk about may sound like common sense to you, but remember, common sense is not always common practice,
Right.
right? Common
Yes.
sense is not always common practice. So it's always a, you can always remind yourself of what common practice is and try to apply. I think even if you are able to apply 5 to 10% of what you learned from this session today in your next coffee chat, in your next networking event, I think you will walk out very successful. All right, so with that, let's get started with the research and reach out phase. Mud, and feel free to jump in whenever I think you want to as well, right? Tell us
Thank
about
you.
what you do when it comes to researching. What are your tools? What are your techniques when it comes to researching?
Right. So, as you know, I am more like an open networker. So, a lot of people connect with me, and I accept almost everything that I receive as far
Yeah,
as uh, invites are concerned, and then I filter it out. But for those people who are very focused, I mean, I'm also focused. My focus is just exponentially increasing my network, because that's how I know I generate leads for my business.
right.
But for those who are looking for a very specific targeted network to be built, they really need to take a step back and think who they really want to connect with
Absolutely.
and what are their goals. If I just put it more broadly, why are we even out there? Are we looking
Yeah,
for a job, or are we out there to connect with people, just to build our network, or are we out there to influence people? I think
right.
that's the basics when you start. And if I could very quickly, since it's a pretty informal session, I think I can still scroll some of um, my surveys that I just did.
Yeah, please
Um,
tell us. I know
right.
Hamad
So
is very active on LinkedIn, and you have a huge network over there, and you have a great conversations and engagements with them. So if you have any insights to
yes,
share, please.
right. So this is almost fresh from oven, as we say.
Ah,
So I posted like 3 days ago. What is your goal on LinkedIn?
right.
Uh, and there was, of course, another following question with that: are you among the over 50% dormant users? And the options I had given: job searching, sales leads generation, or I am there as an influencer.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the result is, out of 214 people who voted for this poll, which is of course a very tiny
Yeah.
segment, but it's still, given that my reach is maximum to 20,000 people at the moment, this is 10%, which is still
Yeah.
pretty good. 1%, which is still pretty good. So 73% people actually said that they are out there to look for a job opportunity.
Right.
7% say they're out there to generate sales leads, and 6% said that they're out there to influence people. Um, which actually shows that a lot of people are out there. They're interested in their career move. They're interested in, either looking for a job, switching a career,
Mm-hmm.
or sort of finding something, a way out to kind of learn more about the opportunities, if I may put it this way.
Right.
But the flip side of that is that only 13% are active users.
Right. Yeah.
And that is also what I call, near dormant
Near
uh,
dormant.
profiles, which means 13%. When I said, semi-active user, one post a week, one post a week is literally nothing. It
Nothing.
actually puts
Yeah.
puts your puts your profile into a near dormant stage. So
Right.
what I want to say is that, this is the goal. But if you need to achieve a goal, the 73% people are really want to be out there and looking for opportunities. They need to connect with those opportunities, and just be out there and have a profile on LinkedIn really does not help.
Mm-hmm.
So the goal, LinkedIn is just one
Yeah.
platform, but because, this is something that I I do passionately, I can really say, you have to have a goal. And if the
Absolutely.
goal is I'm looking for a job, then you have to
Be
follow through
active.
and develop a process to achieve that goal.
Absolutely. 100%. And I think that's so important. Understanding who you want to reach out to, and why are you even there on LinkedIn, or why are you trying to network with different people, and have that goal established. What is your goal? And understanding that why is so, so important. And this is where I kind of think it also ties into our previous webinar, and the topic from there, which is related to self-awareness, which will help you understand who you are, what you want to get out of life, what are your goals, and kind of tie that back into, okay, so when I'm reaching out to people for my career success, for my professional success, who are those people that I want to reach out to, and why? And one thing I'm going to say out, based on my personal experience, right? Based on my experience, based on the little bit of success that I've had, is that when you're networking, my number is to reach out to 10 people every single day, either via email or LinkedIn. Because, of course, not all the 10 people are going to reply back to you. You may have one or two people reply back. So you have to increase your sales in a way, your pipeline, your networking
Yeah.
pipeline, I call it, right? Just similar to a sales pipeline. If you want to sell a product to different a product to a particular market, you're not just going to reach out to one or two customers. You have to build your sales pipeline. So similarly, approach networking in a similar way. Build that pipeline and start networking and start reaching out to at least 10 people every single day, via email, via phone call, or via LinkedIn. It doesn't matter. Reach out to different people. And
Absolutely. And a lot of people actually get disappointed when they don't get a response from the people they are really
yeah.
trying to reach out to. But think about it, these large companies spending millions and millions of dollars on their promotion. Do you think everybody's buying their products? Right? If you take just one name,
yeah.
looking at North American market, uh, and talking about our favorite coffee in Canada, Tim Hortons, spending tons of dollars every day in kind of continuously engaging their
Hmm.
customers through
Right.
deals, through other efforts, through loyalty programs, and you have other coffee shops also.
Yeah.
But Tim being it's the most popular, but they're still spending money, so they're still reaching out to people because they know that reaching out is the only way to build that funnel.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Reaching and you have to kind of in a way, what you're saying, Hamad, is kind of treat yourself as a product, right?
Yeah.
You're presenting yourself to clients, to customers who are going to come and look at you and perhaps put you on a project that you're looking for, or get you your dream job, or get you that next sales lead. So you always have to put on that product hat. One of the key, I think, based on my experience working with different clients and working with different professionals, one mistake that I have seen people make is be very in their message, make mistakes in their messaging, how they're structuring their messages when they're emailing people who are they're interested in, or when they are messaging them on LinkedIn and creating that connection. Number one, the biggest mistake that make is they just send a friend a connection request without any context. Please, please, please avoid doing that. People, majority of the people on LinkedIn or any other platform, they would love to connect with you, but you have to give them a reason of why you are connecting with them. Why do you think your connection will be beneficial for them, right? And this is where messaging comes in, right? Whenever you're structuring that message of whenever you're structuring that message of reaching out to a new person, start off with a very brief intro about yourself, who you are, what you do, and why you do it, right? State those things very, very briefly. Then be very clear about the ask. What is it that you're looking for from them, right? And then offer. And this is so important. And I think I'm going to stress on this throughout the next 40 minutes that you and we are together. Present them an offer, what you can do to what you can offer them to make their lives easier, to make them successful, to help them out. Because at the end of the day, all relationships are all in a way give or take. You have to give more than you take. Be the giver, right? Be the giver, don't be the just a taker, because at some point you will run out of the tokens and credits, and you will run out really bad, and you have to be a giver. And last but not the least, in your messaging, make sure you are proposing options for where to meet, when to meet, how to meet, and basically the logistics. So that's just basically a very a summary of how to reach out to people on LinkedIn or email. Make sure you give them a brief intro. Ask them. Be very clear in your ask. What do you need? Do you need are you interested in learning about their story? Are you interested in learning about a product that they're offering or a service that they're offering? Are you looking to just build a network connection and learn from them, and what you can offer to them, how you can help them out, and logistics.
Yeah, so I would like to add here, the way I put it is,
Yeah.
creating value for your network. And I would even like to say that don't ask,
Mm-hmm.
offer
Okay.
something in the beginning.
Yeah.
Uh, there has to be a reason for somebody who is very, very busy, and that to connect with you. So, if you're offering a value,
Absolutely.
then only you will be able to connect with people. If you're not
Right.
offering any value, then it will be very difficult. And by
Right.
offering value does not mean the financial value, but how can you add to somebody else's knowledge? You said, how can you help somebody succeed, if I may
Yeah.
put it this way. You kind of trying to create your community or a community around you, and you will
Mm-hmm.
only do it by offering something, and
Right.
everybody has something to offer. It's not that somebody who is out of job can't offer things to people. Often people get frustrated and they get depressed if they're out of job. But they have certain skills that they can offer.
Right.
and absolutely no harm in kind of offering your skills or some time towards helping people out on social media,
Absolutely.
and
Couldn't
really helps in kind of generating interest within
Yeah.
your own community.
And again, it goes back to what you said, right? Like treat yourself as that product. Each product is kind of solving a particular problem and adding some sort of value into its customer's life. So, what is that value that you can offer? So, I think that offer piece, this is why I said I'm going to repeat this part over and over again, because if there's one thing you want to walk out after this particular webinar, is the fact that think about what you can offer, what value you bring to the table, and find ways in which you can give more than you can take.
Absolutely. And I just wanted to say here, Umar,
Yeah.
about the question and answer Q&A. We have at least one question
Yes.
that we can respond to, but we'll take more questions from our viewers, and if there are more questions, we'll towards the end of the session we will respond, or we'll try to respond to those questions.
Absolutely.
If you have any questions, please post online, and we will
We will.
try to respond as
Thank
always.
you. Thank you for adding that. Yes, guys, please ask away all your questions. We have seen one or two questions pop up, and we are not ignoring you. We will address that towards the end. So stay tuned. Your questions will be answered. So then let's move on to the preparation stage, right? This is the preparation stage where, like anything else in life, for networking, you have to prepare. When you are going out and meeting somebody for a coffee chat, whether it's virtual on Zoom or whether it is in person at Starbucks or wherever you are meeting them for lunch or dinner, you have to prepare. Treat it like an interview. Be professional in your approach, just like how you would prepare for an interview. Majority of the people prepare for an interview, prepare for a coffee chat as well. Yes, it's not a formal interview, but treat it like one, because so that you're in the practice, and practice will make progress for you. Rehearse how you will introduce yourself, for example, right? Introductions are so important. Think about going back to what value you're offering, what Hamad said earlier, right? Think about how you will pitch that offer to them right in the introduction, so that the person is feels connected to you and feels inclined and more engaged in the conversations. Then write down questions that you would like to ask the person that you're meeting for coffee chat or networking. What are the some of those things that you want to learn from them? And again, be very clear on the purpose, on the goal, right? What exactly is it that you're looking for? Are you looking to the reason why you're meeting this person is to generate a sales lead, is to connect to other parts of his or her network? Are you meeting them for a particular job at a company? So perhaps position yourself in learning more about the products and the services of this company and the culture of this company, and getting to know more people in this company. And also be prepared to tell some stories about yourself, about a project, about a conflict that you resolved, about some heroic accomplishments of yourselves, right? Prepare stories to tell those stories based on your experience that can really help you portray a positive image, and increase your likelihood of being liked by this particular person who you're meeting for coffee chat.
Right. So, I mean, well, basically, in a nutshell, the way I kind of, I would like to rephrase this whole thing that you explained wonderfully, is to like prepare your elevator pitch.
Yeah.
Um, and and this part of the preparation, when you are in your first phase to the next phase, uh, have a pretty solid elevator pitch ready for you. Uh, and just to for those who do not understand the terminology elevator pitch, it's as if you are entering in an elevator at the ground floor, and the elevator has to go up to the 10th floor, and the elevators are quite fast. And you
Hmm.
meet somebody you would like to meet, and this senior person is right in front of you, and you have to grab his or her attention. And you only have time to go from floor 0 to floor 10
Yeah.
where she gets off. So if you have an elevator pitch that she understands or he understands, you may be able to exchange your business cards.
Right.
So your elevator pitch
Absolutely.
has to be developed, and you have to kind of recite it so many times that you speak from your heart,
Yeah.
and you manage your speed of what kind of words one should be kind of spitting
Right.
out, and
Absolutely.
all that sort of a thing within those 45 second really, or maybe sixty
Yeah.
second initially. And those initial 60 seconds are the most important 60 seconds in your relationship building. You make it or break it within those 60 seconds.
Absolutely, especially when you're meeting a new person, you have to establish that trust aspect. And I couldn't agree more. You have to rehearse, you have to practice how you're going to do your elevator pitch, how you're going to introduce yourself, how you're going to create that positive image. We have a few questions coming in, but again, just want to reiterate the fact that thank you guys so much and keep posting your questions. We will definitely address them towards the end of our session today. We are not ignoring you. All right. So then from the preparation, then we come to the execution stage. All right. What do you do in the execution? Now, let's imagine you're meeting this person um, at a Starbucks or at a Tim Hortons or for lunch or somewhere, right? Make sure, at least for me, these are some of the tips that I have. And these are some of the tips that have been, that have proved to be successful for me whenever I have gone out networking. And again, if you're joining us late, the one of the key things I said is to reach out to at least 10 people every single day and try to meet one person, of one new person every single day to build your network. So when you're meeting somebody for a coffee chat or lunch or dinner, make sure you are carrying your notebook or pen with you, right? And make sure you arrive at the venue at least 10 to 15 minutes before, just so that you're in a calm stage. Again, treat it like an interview. You don't want to be rushed because of course we all know what happens when we are rushed, right? Our cortisol levels increase, our stress level increase, our thinking becomes a little foggy, and we forget all that preparation that we did goes down the hill. Then you're really struggling to even do the elevator pitch that Hamad spoke about, right? So arrive 10 to 15 minutes before, and just be in a zen state, in a zen mode, and relax so that you're focused on the execution. And visualize. Sometimes I think visualization has always helped me. Use those few minutes just to visualize how you're going to introduce yourself, so on and so forth. Make sure when the person arrives, after a little bit of small talk, you make sure you pay for the coffee, right? If you're meeting that person for a coffee chat, make sure you pay for the coffee because, hey, guess what? It's you who asked to meet up. So you're obliged to make sure you pay for the coffee. And instead of taking favor and making them pay, it's also good virtue as well. um, and then it's showtime, right? Afterwards, once you're sitting down at the coffee table, and you gotta just go ahead and execute. Just go ahead and execute on everything that you have prepared. Make sure you're smiling. Make sure you're engaged. Make sure you ask a lot of questions. This is not where you don't want to be the person who is doing more of the talking, but you are the person who's doing more of the asking of the questions. Focus, pay attention, listen attentively, listen actively, and if you can, make sure you ask the person if they are okay if you take down notes. All right. I've had this experience where I was I'm big on note taking, right? I went for this coffee chat. I started taking notes. Later on, later in the relationship, as we developed, one of the things that person gave me feedback was, "Hey, Omar, you know what? I understand that you were taking notes, but I am the kind of person who appreciates if you're just looking at me in my eye and being engaged rather than looking down and taking notes." So that was a great learning for me, and I was like, "Oh wow, you know what?" And some people prefer it, some people don't. So whoever you're meeting, ask them politely, "Hey, is it okay? Do you mind if I just take notes while we are chatting?" Majority of the people will say yes, of course, but there will be some people who will say, you know what, no, it's okay, you know what, I'll you can worry about that later on. Let's just have a more live conversation and engaging conversation. So take their permission, and please do not use your cell phones. Do not get distracted by your cell phone while you're in that coffee chat. And last but not the least, very important, again, going back to the value, make sure through every conversation that you're picking on, make sure you're able to add value to that conversation. How can you help that person? How can you add value to the life of that person? Always think about how you can give more than you take.
Absolutely. I think as we give more, we get more. As simple as that.
As simple as
Um,
that.
and it can be very simple. It can be, offerings. I mean, as you said, so if you took notes, uh, maybe someone likes your attention more than you should
Yeah,
just take notes.
exactly.
So maybe at that time you just still take notes because that's important because you're meeting quite a few people every week. Maybe just like add bullet points.
Exactly.
Just add bullet points, and in that during the conversation, you can actually. One of the ways is the way I use it often is it's pretty psychologically playing with the person is, and in a good way also is
Yeah, yeah.
appreciating that person. And if you say this is a great point you're making, I must take a small pointer so that I don't forget.
I love
You
that.
know, that actually, counters that issue of somebody kind of not wanting you to take notes. You say, it
Absolutely.
actually shows that you're paying a lot of attention to that person and you really like the conversation. Um, so if you do that and Umar, you remember when we met for the first time, and we only
Yeah,
met once actually physically over coffee before COVID hit
exactly.
the globe. Uh, we both were taking some kind of notes. And
Absolutely.
it was easier for us to build on our conversation because we had those notes with us.
Yeah.
Um, so I think taking those notes is really, really important. Just to share with you one little story, and I'm good in sharing stories.
Please,
I had
of course.
when I was a junior staff member at the British Consulate office in Karachi, and my boss, she's no more, May Gibson, very very experienced diplomat, and in one of the initial meetings when she arrived on her post, she I mean of course you learn and you ask questions. She was asking questions because she was new, and she was then sort of sharing her thoughts.
Yeah,
And I did not have anything to note those thoughts. I mean, I was just like very, very informal. And he said, Hamad, does not really matter how informal we are sitting and discussing. Always keep a notepad with you. So that is one lesson that I carry with me
yeah.
uh, till now. It's like more than maybe around
Good.
24, 25 years when she actually told me that. But having a notepad is really important.
I agree.
I fully agree with the with cell phone thing. I think
Yeah,
cell phone is the biggest distraction that we have uh, in the modern times, and we are become so used to of looking at a cell phone that we don't even feel that we are ignoring the other person. So
correct.
looking at your cell phone is actually ignoring the other person who has
Absolutely.
kind of taken time out to speak to you.
And that's a
Um,
deal breaker, in my
right,
opinion. That's a complete
right,
deal. All the preparation, all the hard work that you put in, and suddenly, if while they're talking and you guys are having a good conversation, you start looking at your phone, that's a deal breaker. That's, yeah,
absolutely.
you'll just lose all the trust that you have built.
Right. And I mean, I would think uh, try to keep your cell phone in your pocket
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
I mean, we have someone saying that he uses cell phone as as a note-taking tool.
Yeah,
It's fine, but I mean, if you're so good that you're ignoring all the other messages that are popping up on your cell phone, then that's fine. And your cell phone is on silence, so
yeah,
silent mode, that's fine. Um, but overall, I prefer not to have my cell phone in front, in on the desk, even if it is
hmm,
turned upside down. There is a video, I think it's a TED talk by Simon Sinek, where he actually spoke about the distraction that cell phone has been causing.
Mm-hmm.
So
Absolutely.
if somebody of that stature speaks against keeping a cell phone during a meeting with you, even turned upside down, screen down on the table, just don't keep it there, because this is
Yeah.
one device which is actually distracting well, even attention of both the people who are talking, or maybe, if there is a bigger event, and
Right.
if there are five cell phones on the table, there are five more distractions.
Right. And I couldn't agree more. I really like, Hamad, your the psychological trick that you spoke about, right? You kind of play on the person's ego as well. You might make them feel a little good about themselves, and people love hearing compliments about themselves, right? So make sure you
Yeah,
compliment that person, and as a result, what you can do is you can say, as you said, right? That is such a great point. Can Do you mind if I quickly write it down on my notebook or on my phone, wherever you want to write it down? One comment, not a question, that has just come up as I am viewing our comment section is that I use my cell phone a lot as my
yeah,
notepad, which I think, Hamad, you said is great.
yeah.
Just put it on airplane mode, right? And let the person
Yes,
know. Let the person know, hey, before your meeting, as I said, ask them for the permission. If you're taking note, and if they clearly just say no, I don't like it, then try not to use your cell phone or notes or anything. But if they are okay with it, use your cell phone, put it on airplane mode so that you're not getting distracted by WhatsApp messages or Facebook or something, and tell them, hey, I'm not going to be ignoring you, I'm just going to be taking down notes on my phone. Okay, so do you mind? And so that the person also knows, they're aware of what you're doing on your cell phone. So yeah, this is a great point. I'm glad this is such a people are being engaged, and they're asking some really good questions, and which, again, there are really good questions coming up. We will address those questions very, very shortly. After the execution, this is the one of the most important pieces of networking, which I'm not even going to lie to you. A lot of the professionals that I work with, they, perhaps, even if they do a good job of the first three steps, the research and reach out and preparation and execution, a lot of the professionals that I have come across, they completely forget about following up, which, in my opinion, is so, so important. All right. What do I mean when I say follow up? I say that, on the very same day that you have met this person for a coffee chat or virtual meeting, send them a LinkedIn message or an email showing your gratitude, right? Showing your gratitude for the time that they invested in you, right? They came to you for a particular reason, and they obliged to your request to meet. So you the least you can do is send a follow-up thank you message. Within this thank you message, I don't want you to just say thank you so much for meeting me, talk to you soon. There's more to it. The more you can, again, add value and show, and show the more professionalism on your end by quickly, briefly summarizing the conversation in maybe 2 or 3 bullet points, not more than that. And again, make sure you are very clear in terms of what is the thing that you can offer, or if there was a particular request or ask that came up during the conversation, be very, very clear about that value, right? The offer, the ask. And again, I'm going to stress on this point again: give more than you take. Give more than you take. Always showcase what is the value that you can offer. If there are any action items that came out of that particular meeting, such as, hey, you know what, perhaps I will connect you with person so and so, or you will connect me with person so and so, write those action items down as well in that email, and set up a calendar reminder for yourself to follow up with this person, perhaps after a month or whatever timeline you guys have decided. Some people say, hey, let's follow up after a month, let's follow up after a week, let's follow up after 2 or 3 months. Make sure you don't lose sight of that action item by putting it in your calendar. Put it in your calendar. It will not escape you. And the one of the most important things you can do is make sure during that time you follow up regularly with this person. Just drop them a message on LinkedIn, email, just check on them how they are doing. You know why? Because what that does, that really builds the relationship, that builds trust, that shows that you actually care, right? People love people who show care for them, right? You show care. As a result, you're going to build a very, very strong and meaningful relationship. Strong and meaningful. You just don't want to build a relationship. You want to build a relationship that is strong and meaningful. And one caveat that I definitely want to touch on, and Ahmad, I'm sure you will talk about this as well, is have patience. A lot of people, in my experience that I have worked with, they say, you know what, I met this person, I did all these steps, but you know what, they didn't get me the job that I needed. Hold on, have some control, have some patience. Relationships take a long time to build, right? You have to invest a lot more to before you can gain anything out of it.
Oh, yeah.
Have some patience and make sure you are doing, you're following the process, you're giving more than you're taking, and the results will follow somehow or the other. You know, you will get what you wanted if you're following the process, and show patience in that relationship.
Absolutely. So it takes time, and this is one example that I I quote, and I love this example because this is so practical. Is that if I even last time around I used the same example for those who are joining us for the first time. Is that if you want to be a 100-meter sprinter, you don't become 100-meter sprinter on the first day.
Yeah.
There's a process you have to follow, and once you follow the process, then even then there is no guarantee that you will be the winner. You will still be running 100-meter sprint, but you can be like on the 10th number out of 10 candidates or 10 runners, which is fine. I mean, you're still in the game. You have your skin in the game, and all that. So no, I fully agree with you.
Yeah.
Is The follow-up is really important, and follow-up through a logical process perhaps is more important. This is exactly what you actually explained also,
Hmm.
that it should not just be a plain thank you for seeing me, the coffee was
Yeah.
great, the weather was nice, and things. You know, uh, it should be nice, it's still nicely crafted, and you should put yourself in the shoes of the person that you met. What kind
Right.
of a message you would like to see from somebody you met? Um, and There may not be anything out of it, but still you can appreciate the person for the time. And I think you will be extremely unlucky if you have not picked up at least one great idea of that half an hour's conversation.
Absolutely.
I think it's more on us, honestly, on us who go out there and we are seeking help.
Hmm.
Um, so we need to be like really thoughtful and really attentive to what the person is saying. You
Right.
know, it it may just be too much of rubbish coming out of that person, which is fine. But of that rubbish, could one learning that you could take, and that
Yeah.
could one learning could be that you do not meet everybody,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Great learning, because then you know exactly where you are and who you want to meet, which we actually spoke for the very first in your first session, research and
Yeah,
reaching.
exactly.
So if you are meeting somebody who is who is rubbish, who was talking rubbish, I would think you should be blamed rather than that person, because
Absolutely.
did not do your research well. Maybe,
Yep.
maybe. But great points, Umar. Yeah,
And I can think that's a great point that you raised about how it actually, even after the follow up, the cycle doesn't end, the process doesn't end. It actually, even though in the diagram over here, it's a linear thing, it should actually be a circular diagram, because after the follow up, it's an iterative cycle, it's an iterative process.
yeah,
It just keeps going on and on, because whatever you learn during that coffee chat or after the follow up, you kind of feed that back into there's a feedback loop that comes right back into the research and the reach out again. and that cycle just keeps on continuing and continuing and continuing. So that's great. I'm glad you brought that up. um, Before we start taking questions, just want to showcase that this is Hamad Siddiqui. Please reach out to him. He's been doing some excellent work in the field of networking, in helping people shine and polish their LinkedIn profiles. And myself, Omar Qadri, who's a mindset coach. And you can also follow me and join me on my journey to establish and help other people unleash their true potentials in their personal lives as well as professional lives. So let's take a few questions now.
Before we go for those questions, I just posted online also. Those who are watching, can you kindly share from where are you watching us? Which country, which city? It will be a moral booster for both of us, because we are trying to bring in these exciting topics to you every week. And if we could see our demography from where people are, uh, that would really be great.
That's a great point. That's a great point. So, guys, if you can, please shoot away all the different countries or cities you have logged in from and joined us. And thank you so much for joining. This is an investment on at your end. So, thank you so much for not just investing time in us, but investing time in your own learning and development and journey. Thank you so much. So now let's we have a lot of questions that have come up. So I'm going to just show them on the screen right now. All right. The first question comes in from Danman DHK. Sorry if I could not pronounce that particular name, but the question is actually a really good one. How effective is LinkedIn networking versus traditional networking? Hamad, I'm going to let you take a stab at this one, since you're a pro at LinkedIn.
Thank you very much. I think I love that question actually, and I get this question on a very regular basis when
Yeah.
I coach people for their LinkedIn profile optimization and what LinkedIn profile optimization can do for them. Uh, and if you remember, in the beginning of today's session, even I said, somebody sitting in Dubai can still network with somebody in Australia
Yeah.
or New Zealand or wherever they want to get connected with. So physical connectivity or being out there and meeting people is a fantastic thing to do. You understand people more, and kind of you learn more also in a way. But again, LinkedIn and social media provides a wonderful opportunity to meet a lot of people, um, and filter your potential future connections of that bigger network, um, that you feel either you can contribute to their lives or they could contribute into
Right.
your. So these two things are well, two different scenarios, I would put it. The values or the value that you can gain out of a physical one-on-one
Mm-hmm.
networking is um, uh, obviously great, but the way things are evolving, and what, as you said, Umar, what COVID has taught us is that there may still be in the foreseeable future minimal social or physical networking of
Yep.
people. I mean, maybe we will restore to some kind of a hybrid networking later on.
Yep.
But still, at the moment, there are conferences, workshop, meetings, events going on online. Um, so whatever people were thinking about, uh, maybe a lower value of LinkedIn related networking, I think situation has changed completely. The dime has turned, and and I think perhaps going forward, it is a matter of how do you use that tool is more
Mm-hmm.
important.
Yep.
If you
Absolutely.
know how to use it, then you will be able to use it in your benefit.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. They both are effective in their own ways. It's not about the which tool that you use. It's how you use each tool to its most effectiveness. So in I couldn't agree more. Thank you so much for answering that question. I
And,
have an
and just wait a minute. Interestingly, we have somebody watching from Germany, and somebody
Aha.
watching from Newmarket, Canada. So at least
There
two
you
people have
go.
responded.
So in
Thank you very much for responding. I hope others who are watching will also be able to share from where are they from, which country, city, and that would really be an interesting see to actually observe the demographic that we can reach out to.
yeah,
Talking in Canada, in Ontario, we are reaching out to somebody in Ontario and somebody in Germany.
I know. That's amazing. I'm so glad. Thank you guys. Thank you, Innocent Bimbino and I am Bendris, for sharing that with us. Let's move on to our second question, which actually comes from Innocent Bimbino. Should we try to make these stories grandiose or more humble? I think what you're, yeah, okay. Let me go back to that particular slide where I think you saw this. There you go. I think you saw this point pop up over here under the preparation, where I spoke about prepare some stories to tell based on your experience. Now, and this is a good question that you're asking. And in fact, quite a lot of my clients, they ask me this question as well. The answer to that is be truthful.
Absolutely.
You don't have to make anything up. I'm pretty sure, whether you were a student during your university, you must have done something really incredible, or in your work experience you must have done something incredible that you can talk about. And we are not going to be talking about the structure of the story, but if I have, because that itself is a whole webinar of storytelling on its
Yeah.
own, that perhaps some other time Hamad and I, we can talk about. But a very straightforward structure for any story that you're thinking about to tell about your project experience is, think about what was the problem that your project team was facing, right? Number one, what was the problem? What solution did you and the team come up with? And last but not the least, what was the outcome? How did it impact? And try to quantify your impact in some way or the other. Like, for example, you reduce the cost of from a supplier's perspective, or did you increase the revenue, or did you improve the efficiency of a process by X percentage? So that's the kind of story that I'm looking. We both Hamad and I, we work with the clients to help them construct and craft these stories, because everybody has stories. It's just a matter of working with somebody, a coach, a mentor, who can help you craft these stories better. And be truthful, right? Be truthful. Start with the problem, solution, and the outcome. That's it. As simple as that.
And one more thing, just to add, Umar, here, you explained it very nicely. Uh, so again, a story from my learning is that I was uh, so there was like about I think 7 or 8 years ago, we were doing a networking training session in um, in Kathmandu
Mm-hmm.
for Nepal for South Asia Women Leadership Network. There were about 15 or 16 women business leaders in the
Right.
room. We were told that one of the ambassadors,
Mm-hmm.
she Karen Carrigan, people can look for her on internet. Karen is famous in the US for her advocacy towards small businesses,
Mm-hmm.
and she was the small business ambassador. Very very influential lady, very senior lady. Um, she would come and attend part of it because she happened to be in Kathmandu on that day, and she was so senior. She's so senior. She still is, that the U.S. embassy had provided her protocol to come to the hotel. I mean, you can
Wow.
imagine the kind of. And what had happened? So our executive director for the U.S. was traveling also. He missed his flight,
Mhm.
and I received a message that, Ahmad, you will have to sort of meet and greet her and took care of her. And I was one of the presenter also in the session. So all of a sudden, I had a lot of responsibility.
Wow.
What I did, because you see, it's about how do you build relationship with people. You build relationship with people if you know them, even a little bit about them. So I went onto the internet and I tried to research about her.
Right.
And what I found her is that she loves gardening and she loves flowers. Um, and few more things. One thing that is stuck in my mind, that she loves flowers.
Yeah.
And Nepal, if anybody has been to Nepal, is a place where uh, you have it's all green. I mean, you have
Yeah.
valleys and all that,
Mountains and
mountains and
valleys and
valleys,
green.
right?
Yeah.
So when she came in, I met her and greeted her, and I took her to the seat, and she sat down. And when I was introducing her, I introduced actually her r- right from the very beginning with a very personal touch. And that was, I was so pleased to learn that Karen actually loves flowers, and I love flowers too.
Right.
And then I gave the official introduction.
That's
That
amazing.
one sentence actually built that relationship, that such a senior person connected me on social media. We still follow each other. And I mean, she is a great advocate in the US for small
Yeah.
businesses,
I love
and a great
that.
person to know. So, how do you relate to someone? You can relate to people. If you follow some of the posts, you will learn about that person, the what the person is really interested in. And if you can somehow um, align that interest, or try to learn about that interest, then all of a sudden you build that relationship, you bridge that gap
Yep.
that you have in between. So,
Absolutely.
your stories should be, I would still think, humble,
Yep.
because you're not selling anything to that person. You're out there to learn or to connect with that person and ask questions. Just say, okay,
Yeah.
this is what I did. Uh, do you think I did the right thing, or do you think there could be another way to implement this project, or stuff like that? So being
Right.
humble and be truthful, I think, perhaps are the two very
I
important
love
things.
that. I love that story, Hamad, that you shared. I think that touches on the first part of what we spoke about as the networking journey, right? The research. Research is so important, and that kind of sets you up for success on the other three steps, which is the preparation and the execution and the follow up. You, in your example, you research, you found something, and that about the flowers for that particular person, that person loves flower and garden, and you brought that up in the first conversation as well to create that connection, and that's beautiful. I think everyone can learn a lot from that story. Thank you so much for sharing. Another question that we have from the same person, Innocent Bambino, is, do you believe in dress for success? It's a good question. And I have a very short and very straightforward answer to this. Yes,
Absolutely.
absolutely. Yes, there's no question about that. As we said, treat it like an interview. Would you would you go to an interview dressed in your PJs? No, right? So dress for success for sure. Absolutely, 100%.
But I
Um,
would still think, dress for success, if it's obviously it's an informal meeting, I would not suggest, wearing a suit, maybe. You
correct.
know,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if this is the right word to say, but as a South Asian, I think I can say it, dress decently. So, I
Yeah.
mean, it's, when I go and meet someone, I always shave and, take a shower. So
Yeah,
I
be
look,
presentable.
great.
I think that's
and
that the word that you're looking is to be presentable.
and you feel good when you're dressed well also. I mean, at least
Absolutely.
I do that. If I'm wearing a stinky shirt, which I've been wearing for the past 3 days, I would not look fresh. I would not feel fresh.
Yeah. And that's so important, you how it kind of creates that aura and vibe around you as well, and you have to feel good about yourself as well. I think we're coming to a close to our session today. Thank you so much, Hamad, for joining us. It was such a pleasure talking to you, and I really hope that each and every one of you who joined us today, you guys got a really good chance to learn about networking, where we spoke about all the four stages of networking, from research and reach out to preparation to execution, and finally the one of the how to round things up is a follow up. And as I said earlier at the beginning of this webinar, some of these things that we spoke about may sound like really common sense. However, common sense is not always common practice. So I really hope from today's session you are able to gather a few tips and tricks to improve your ways of networking and apply what you have learned today in the next coffee chat or Zoom chat or Hangout chat that you're going to be having with the next person in your career journey. Hamad, it has been a pleasure. Thank you so much. And for all of you who have joined us today, thank you so, so much for joining us. We look forward to
And
seeing you again next week.
yeah,
Hamad, you have something to say?
just last point of recognition, those who to those who contributed with their questions, thank you very much, because these questions really, sort of, I would say, improve the quality of discussion that we have. Um, and people joined in from Germany, from UAE, and from Canada, and some other places which people did not share, but
Yeah.
hopefully we actually had gone international. That's
I
my
know.
man.
I'm so glad about that. Thank you, each and everyone who joined us today. And you guys were amazing, amazing guests. And, it was a pleasure hosting each and every one of you from all over the world. This is
Yeah.
me, your host, Omar Qadri, signing off. And Hamad, thank you
Thank you very
so,
much.
so much. By the way,
See you
guys,
next
this
week.
will be posted on our LinkedIn and my YouTube channel and within the next hour. So, in case for those of you who missed the earlier part, you get to see it as well. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.